Right now, I think it's kind of important that everyone takes some time and sit back and really think about something. One of the most important things that God wants us to do throughout our life is to call on to Him, to know that He's going to answer, but to call out to Him and to have faith that with Him, there's a reason for everything, no matter what it may be. No matter how horrible, how happy, how scary, how frightening, how delightful and deliciously enjoyable it may be, that we should always remember to call out to everything that helps everything be, especially when you understand the magnitude and the gloriousness of God and for what God is. But you're supposed to call out to Him, give thanks, give praise. I mean, that's what everything's always supposed to be about. To everyone and everything, for the unity, for what we all are, for the connections that we all have and we all share. And we should be forever grateful and giving the appropriate acknowledgement for what it is. To take our mind off all the problems, to take our mind off all the downfalls and the upsets and the disturbances and the dislikes and the discord of everything. We should turn and stop acknowledging it for that and reach and look for the bigger, brighter, better understanding of everything, and then give acknowledgement to God for how everything is truly a factor. And if you're not sure, then you need to stop, sit back, and review everything and see how and why everything has came to be for the point for what it is. And while doing that, you must be remembering to acknowledge the good factors that came out of all of this and all the different things that brought it all together to be in the first place. For everything is far more greater than what everyone realizes. And time and time and time and time and time and time again, so many of us fail on so many levels because we're not appropriately taught how to stay aligned with those good feelings and to give acknowledgement like, oh my goodness, ain't that flower beautiful? Instead, what happens, people end up having in their head, that flower's not a flower, that's a weed. Now it's a problem because it's considered a weed. Now what are we going to do about it? And it continues a bad, vicious cycle. You just took something that should have been beautiful and just acknowledging it for the gorgeous and awesomeness that it is for what it is and allowing it to exist for the uniqueness that it is. Everything would have a chance to flourish to so much more because it's all in the way you choose to perceive what you see. Now remember, as soon as you start admiring that flower as a beautiful flower, before you start to take into a factor, oh, that's not even a flower, it's a weed, and then going down that horrible dark rabbit hole of an experience, stop and acknowledge something for the goodness that it is, regardless of the way that everything else wants to choose to perceive something that is still unique and beautiful. If you stop and you look for it in such a manner, you can then see a flower for so much more than what it is, and all the things that come about from a flower, from the other life it also helps encourage, by the bees and the butterflies that come to have their nourishment. Now ain't that wonderful that something so pretty can now be made more because something consumed it, because something delighted in that beautiful flower. But now we'll have more flowers because something delighted in it and took nourishment from it. That's the kind of stuff we're supposed to do in life. And we're supposed to enjoy and experience and to go through the cycles. And instead we cannot allow ourselves to get sidetracked and off the course and off the loop because of piling up of all these overwhelming events that just seem to be never ending until eventually you seem to find that you're working your way out and you're bringing yourself back. And it's not such a bad thing. But to what extent do you you want to go through the cycle, to how much do you really want. For you got to think about how unhappy you've been for such a long time, and what did you ask for, and what did you put into the universe, and then what kind of emotions and creations were you creating by your own prayers of your own thoughts, and by your own thought patterns and your own vibrations of what you were adding to the atmosphere. How all of that was just waiting for somewhere to go, that you just put this burst of energy out there because you forgot and you were off course, but you just created this energy. And that these energies build up to where they end up taking over and taking control. And the darkness and the evil and our downfalls and our flaws and our guilt and our twists and our... What most people don't realize, even the hurts of some of these lies. Everything should be accepted for the truth for what it is. There shouldn't be no need to go way off course of everything. But at the same time, you got to remember to look for the good in everything, where you put your focus. So if you think about the good, you're going to have good in your life. Where do you put your focus? Are you focusing on the bad and the negative and the sad and the disappointing? Then that's what you're going to be bringing into your life. And that's what you need to get out. And that's what you need to take away to live better and just enjoy every moment. And don't let an experience pass you by because you're afraid of the death about it, the end of it, the finish because of what happens after. Understand it completely and face it head on. I mean, everything's not easy, but we got to always remember to stay on path and to keep moving towards what it is we want, because everything we do in our life is like building up our prayer of what we constantly ask, and what we have in that moment. That biggest want, that biggest desire that is there at that moment of death is so important. For what do you think my baby boy wanted when he was wanting his life, when he was wanting his birth, when he was wanting his existence? Before that was an attempt to be taken away, because all that was taken away was physical. That's, again, you got to remember the greatness of God. And that we still live, especially when we know God. And when we die, we don't die. And what happens to us from here depends on according to the life that we live here. And you got to remember how all of this is connected. And so many people can't see this because we've been mistaught and misguided for so long. Or some of us might understand and get it in bits and pieces, that everything now begins to flow and fall together, and that you realize that everything is so much more than the things we were focused on, because we were focused in the wrong direction. That we forgot what life was supposed to be like. We forgot the direction of where we were supposed to be going. But then there are those few individuals that do reach up and above and beyond. But they're not perfect, for none of us is perfect. But we're not perfect because we had no way to truly understand all these things for what they were supposed to be. All the goodness and the gloriness, and just how much we were supposed to value everything. And we stopped valuing things. We wanted to change things, and we wanted to alter things, and we just wanted to tear things down instead of nourishing and allowing it to flourish, to take care of it, to put that good energy into it, to see something thrive. And that's what our lives are. But our lives are to help everything around us thrive. Not to destroy, not to be destructive, not to cut, not to maim. From the grass to the people to just all these different things. Everything is huge but yet simple at the same time. And all you have to do is call out to God and to trust that His love is so great that we get what we want. So be careful what you want, be careful what you ask for, but understand it. And if you understand it and put knowledge into it, then you further help create. So everything you do, the things you look at, the things you surround yourself with, these all become products of your life and environment. It's why so many of us can go through this world and through this life and have such similar but yet different and contrasting experiences. But then you get those unique individuals like me who have experienced so much. I can relate to a little bit of all of this because I've had so much life experience. But when I did things, I didn't really half-ass do them. I did them the best I could. Like right now, yeah, I'm doing what I can do, but I can only do what I can do concerning my situation for what it is. But at the same time, I find the enjoyment in my situation, and I'm not always down. This war, this fight, this battle, this is not an easy thing to go through, but it's real. These things are real. These events are real. Everything that comes through on my spirit box messages, those are all the words that come through from them. And if you actually listen and you actually pay attention, and you actually want to know what's being said, it's all there. I do not, like other people, pick and choose and take out certain words and go for views and give you ads. I am just merely trying to give you the message I can for what I can, as I can, while I can, with so many things that I'm doing. And my life is kind of complicated, but it's not. So at the same time, you have to be willing to take the time to review, because everything is there. I don't remove nothing. And you got to remember how vast the other side is. And you got to understand that everything is more than what we know. And this ability, because we've been kept from the truth for far so long that it's hard to see the true truth for what it is. It's like the saying, you can't take the truth, you can't handle the truth, you can't have the truth. But if you want it, and you can take it, and you can handle it for what it is, then you want to seek it out because it's what you want. In a relationship with God, it's the same thing. You seek it out because it's what you want. Just like those who truly want justice, don't you think they seek it out because it's what they want? When somebody really wants something righted, don't you think they seek it out because it's what they want? If somebody goes out of their way to leave you alone, leave them alone. As soon as you make a conflict, the conflict always starts a battle, which ends up creating a war, and then there's many different fights, and there's different outbreaks, and it's just, stop. Oh my goodness, stop. Realize the time that we are living in. Wake up to the fact that this is the time. It's already too late on certain things. Just accept it for what it is and go with it, and enjoy it for the awesomeness for what it is, no matter how devastating and terrifying it may be. Look for the greatness in it. Remember the glory of God. Remember how this experience is to be experienced. Go through it boldly. Go through it strong. I mean, yeah, I've been not on such an easy path, but most of all of you have someone to turn to, have a warm bed at night, have all your needs pretty much taken care of and met for one reason or another because you decided to go along with the system, not realizing the system is what it is. But anyhow, I'm going to end with this talk right here and now and say peace out to all of you, and I hope you enjoyed Ramblings from Gypsy. We're just trying to get the message out for all to see, because I think it's a gyp that I can see and you can't. So can't you see how that makes it a gypsy? So don't short yourself on acknowledging it and waking up and being prepared for everything that's to come. This is a choice that you make. So prepare, because the time is fast at hand. You're almost out of time. It's coming quick. Are you ready before we all start to lose our minds?